Hello! Wait! Wait! No, I mean, wait! Wait! No, just kidding. Actually, not kidding. Today, what we're going to be talking about is circular knitters and weights. Weights will make all the difference in the world for a challenging yarn. Like, challenging yarn. Probably a challenging yarn. Weights. And today we're going to not just talk about the ones that are normal and after things have run through a little bit. I'm going to take you with me on this journey. This journey is about being able to use yarns that run okay. In other words, they're the right size. They're not hindering the mechanics of the circular knitter, but because of their texture or their lack of a condition on the outside or such, they don't run very well. That they really need to have weight, which there's nothing hardly to attach to. So I want to take you along on this journey of figuring out how to add weight to your circular knitter project that doesn't take a huge amount of time to attach and is inexpensive. Okay? Come along with me. All right, so I started this video earlier and I added the silicone earpiece to it, earplug to my machine. I'll show you pictures of that right here. And then it humbled me. Let's just say that. And basically all the yarns that I was having trouble with, well, I shouldn't say all the yarns. Several of the yarns I was having trouble with ran just fine if I added that. And then I did one that I was just absolutely horrifying without the silicone. And I got it to run pretty decent when I took the silicone and then we added some weight. So let me show you. That's hopeful. There's a part of me that wants this to work so badly nice. But so this is wool. Crap. That's not good. Oh man, this thing is tight. Alright. So this is a wool, and it's actually from a Churchill, Virginia mill. Sistari. Anyway, and I'm going to make a hat. Now I made one tan one before. It was really hard to run. So I'm really hoping that by adding the silicone and having the capability of adding weight early, that's where the experiment comes in, friends, is we are going to cast on and I'm going to see how this is going to run, and we're going to see how far does the silicone go and where does the weight make all the difference. Because like I said, I've done one with a tan. My dog is laying on my yarn, so we're gonna have to remedy that. Anyway, I've done one before. It just was super difficult to run. It ran through, so it's not a matter of it can't. It's a matter of I need to get it to run nice. Zeroing out. So, silicone only. Let's see where we land. Other than my dog. Hey, no. Natural fiber, y'all. They like to chew on it. It's not acrylic. Acrylic they'd leave alone. Gee, I wonder why. Anyway. Hang on a second. I need to put the other camera up. Hold that thought. Okay, now you get to see, as I see, how this runs. You can see there's the silicone's on here. At least I think you can see. How about there? We'll try that. Okay, it's functioning. I'm running through the silicone. Problem with some of this stuff though is because of the way that it's spun, it wants to bind on itself. So I'm taking it slow, but I want to be fair. Oop. So this is a hat that I fully intend on using. I honestly have been procrastinating doing the hat because I knew it was going to be a pain in the butt to do, because the last one was. But apparently silicone makes all the difference after it has humbled me and made a liar out of me. I have run those other 2 yarns that I had tested previously. Now, I'm going to share those with you. You can look for those videos if you'd like. So, you can feel the extra tension. It's not like there's extra tension. It's just the way that this is running through the system. Because I haven't added any extra tension to it. I've done so many of these things, I'm pretty consistent with what I do. But it wants... Yeah, they're not slipping down as nicely as I need them to. So I'm really going to get careful here. I'm going to do another little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and experiment with the weights because I can literally see. Would be happier. I do think the silicone is making the world of difference though. Okay? So I'm being fair about that. Yeah, we're gonna start that experiment, right? Okay, so here's the deal. Come over here for a minute. So I got these clips. So here, let's smidge into backstory. I was at a fiber fair, and I picked up this cord trim rope thingy majigger. It's actually just a mini drill bit with a hook on it. But it had this. And see, I've had this, well, I'll show you a picture of this right here. Anyway, but that's the kind of clips I had for it. And I thought to myself, because I like these kind of clips. Now, the ones I have, I think, are a smidge wider. I don't know. Either way, though, I thought to myself, wait a minute, I can add that weight to just this. Now, this is a 3-ounce weight. That's a smidge much. So I went through and I measured up the weights that I usually use on these. So typically, and you'll see this in this hat, because I'll show you the little steps. The steps about adding weights, because that's what this is all about, right? It's adding weights. So typically, once I can get enough of it, usually at about 30-35 rows, I can get enough to go in the scrunchie. And then I have this little cup here, which is 3-inch PVC, 3-inch cap for a PVC pipe. And I have that, and then when I need to add even more weights, I have these fabric weights that I use a lot. That's my phase 2. I'm creating a phase 1 when needed, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take, I found these sinker weights, pyramid sinkers. I'll put links for all this stuff in the description, by the way. They're 1 ounce. Now, what I did was I got some of these. And it turns out, check this out, that you can literally just take your little wire, pull it just a smidge, and add it on. So here's my theory. If I can get 12. Now, are they going to bump on the screw piece? By the way, I just saw that. Just realizing that. They won't do it for very long. You can run slow, and it won't do it for very long. So I'm going to go forward with this plan, even though that is not as promising as I'd hoped. Because if you started it a little bit later, they wouldn't do that at all. but because this one really could use the weight. So I'm setting up for, I think there's 16 in this package, 14 in the package. I can do up to 14 without an issue. So I'm starting off with 14, and I'm putting the weight toward the inside, or am I? Well, I was trying to put the weight toward the inside. So basically, we're coming down to having 14 ounces. Now, when I weighed up the stuff I had done previously, it was over 15 ounces, and I'm like, And I might show those pictures of how I was doing that. I don't know that anybody would care about that logic. However, I'll share with you what how I broke down my thoughts anyway. So I'm putting a bunch. We may have to even that out more. I don't know. We'll see where we land on this. Because I'm going to bet that by adding the appropriate weight. Now, do I have to do this every time? No. Apparently, if you put the dang silicone thing on the thing, you don't have to do it much at all unless you really give it a very challenging yarn that you truly want to run. Yeah, apparently. Oh, I also have another option we're going to talk about too. But not yet, because this is my favorite option. And it's very accessible. That is key. This is all very accessible. Okay, I'm going to finish these up and even it out and go from there. Okay? Okay, y'all, I just realized this. If you put the weight on the inside, in other words, top camera is working, I think. If you put it on there, it doesn't hit the screw thing. Sometimes I wonder whether anything connects at all. Anyway. But I'm going to even this out. And move everything around. Good enough. Okay, so you get to watch me as I figure these things out. Yeah, I know. Weirdness. Okay. Come on over here for a little bit. So I'm watching those pins. I'm watching that yarn slide. These screw thingies are not hitting. Now they might on the inside of that clip. We'll have to see how that runs. I don't know if the top camera is picking that up or not. Oh. And I don't know, there's a weird sound. I'm not sure what's happening there. All right, so the thread sliding, it isn't hesitating to slide down anymore. You can see them drop like they're supposed to now, and that's what we were going for. Are we having issues here with anything? I mean, maybe a smidge. Let's see how that pans out. Because with the weight towards the center, that pushes that against the back of the machine. So there may be a thing, because at least it's still pulling outward. Having the weight, I guess depends on when you have to attach it. Because all of a sudden now, I'm at row 15, which there's no way I could have added on weight before otherwise. Other than those little pin thingies, which I don't love. You know, the ones made for straight circular knitting. Straight circular. Knitting machines that are straight. Goodness. You'd think I had a clue, right? Words. Well, I couldn't hit the drill to it, but to be honest, with a challenging yarn, you never can anyway. Now, once I get them down a little ways, I'd be willing to bet you I could hit a drill to this because the silicone's on here. Yeah, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've had any problem stitches. You know, I think real quick though, I'm going to switch them around and see what happens. Because we're still right in the range of where those would be hitting. And see if it works better the other way. Okay? So, bear with me. Okay. Those are all they're doing. They're on there. So, let's see how this works. Just kind of has to jump over them. It doesn't seem to mind it though. It is kind of having to move around the screw pieces, but I don't know that it's necessarily a problem. Not seeing anything getting caught up. Now, by the time when I edit this video and look at it that way, I may disagree with myself. But between the silicone and the weight, this is a very runnable. I don't think I can hit the drill to it. Honestly, I'm kind of concerned to trying. Although I'm going about as fast as I do on the slow side of the drill anyway. I'm going to go ahead and take this to the weights hitting the table. And maintaining, and I'll see you there. Alright, I'm too curious. Usually the drill actually helps for the fact that it's steady. See what happens. Okay, it actually runs on the drill just fine. The challenge becomes, and this would be true with anything that's very frictional like this. Your natural fibers have a tendency to be more so, but it will. You gotta pull it from the skein ahead, cool it a little bit. That added tension doesn't do it any favors. Every yarn's gonna be different on that though. It's starting to drag on the table. But at this point I can put the scrunchie on there. Because see, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about right here. You gotta prevent that. Alright, so we're hitting the table. It's still got some pull to it, so I'm going to let it roll. Alright, I can put a scrunchie on there. Okay, now, this is phase 2. What I would consider phase 2 of weights. These aren't going to do us much good anymore because the weight is being taken up on the table. Now, if you didn't have a smooth table, that would probably be an additional issue because they need to drag. So I'm just taking all these off. That wasn't my brightest idea. But at least it worked. It worked. This is cheap. These are just the clips and the sinker weights. And I was basically really just looking at the little eyelet to make sure it was big enough for the wire. Because I really prefer these kind of clips versus anything else. And I don't think you could do this with a, like, clothespins. These really are just like clothespins. That's what they are called. But you need something that's going to protect your yarn. Okay. Alright, there we go. Those are off. Now we're going to go to phase 2. Here's phase 2. I've shown this in multiple other videos, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because we are talking about weights. That is our subject matter, other than me just getting bamboozled by silicone earplugs, because that's what happened. Alright, so what I do is I gather it up, and I scrunch it all in. And what it needs is weight. Okay? Now, if you need a lot more weight, you'll put it in like that, or now normally I have more on it. Yikes! Really, all it needs is a trajectory downward. Okay. Back in the silicone. I gotta repool my yarn because the friction, the additional tension, It doesn't like that additional tension. Okay. If you needed extra weight at this point, I'm going to show you the next phase that I go to. After scrunchie, I pull it through, then I take my cup, put it like that, and then I take my fabric weights and just put one in. I have like 4 of those if I had to. I've had to use 4 before. Now, granted, I don't think I'd have to use it any more than a couple with the silicone, but hey, you just never know. And then you roll. I still think that there's stuff out there that you cannot use the drill with, to be honest. But this is about as frictionless as... That's not even a word. But you know what I mean. In other words, it's grippy. Don't step on your yarn, dingbat. So in theory, I've never done this before, but in theory, somebody asked me the other day if you could use these machines with wool and then turn around and wash the hat, because that's how you felt a hat, making felt hats. Given the fact that I've never done that, I don't know. Great theory. Normally, I line this kind of hat with something nicer. Like I have one right here that's just a beautiful feel, but it's acrylic. Now, could you make it completely, maybe just one layer? I don't know how that would work. I might have to try that one. Maybe if there's enough left of this, there might be. Also, I've also got some of my tan. I might actually run that experiment. Not today. That's a different video. But I'm getting to 60. And then we're going to run the cozy yarn. All the difference in the world with the silicone and the weight, y'all. All the difference in the world. Now I gotta find another yarn that's hard so I can show you the other weight method. Okay, 65. Alright, I'm doing a color change. I'm just going to the cozy one because this is what I want on the inside of it. And then, and I'll show you in the end what it all turns out like, okay? Okay, so our second set of weights that I want to show you. So I knew this one I did on my previous video, and one of the things, I have a feeling it's going to run just fine with the silicone, but at least I can show you what the weights are, right? Okay, so my theory is this. What I did is I got a whole bunch of these chip clips, because this is actually what was recommended by some other people that I saw, I want to say on Facebook or something. But, so they're just plastic chip clips, but they do not have that tubing in here like a lot of them do. So basically there's just these. Now, what I did was I know that this isn't really enough weight to do much good. If you're needing weight right off the bat, this isn't enough. So what I did is I got these wheel weights, except for they're just little adhesive, they're powder coated. So they're not like raw lead or anything. In fact, I think they're lead free. My theory is if we take 4 of them across and stick on to the clip, they'll still equal an ounce, because basically they're 1/4 of an ounce a piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this yarn rolling up, see how far I can clap this thing on, make up some of these weights, and see if it works for us. See if it's better. I mean, seriously, it's got to be better unless it, like latches onto something and just won't roll inside there, because we already know weight works, right? Okay, so I'm going to do that and see where we come around to, okay? I'll see you in just a minute. Let me fix this up. Okay, I got it all figured out. I got it all set, and so, hang on. So I got it all figured out, got it all set. I think I could fit even one more clip on here, but what I can tell you is this. Yeah, I'm seeing it. These clips, all I did was fold them onto it. You got it. If you were to happens to get, if you would, words, if you happen to decide to do this yourself, which I'll tell you, we'll find out in a few minutes whether it's recommended. I can tell you though, this adhesive is no joke. So you want to make sure to put it on mindfully, because extra adhesive is not going to be a good thing for this. So I just clip it on just like that. Now, let's see how it's going to run. I have no idea. I didn't even run it without the camera on. Well, I can tell you right now that they're sliding down better. It's got the silicone on there, and it was running okay. But I only give it okay. I could tell you that the threads were not coming down the pins very nicely. It wasn't as bad as it was before when I did used this yarn before. Obviously see now, the screws are hitting. I don't know how big a deal that would be. See, here's the thing though, y'all, that any of these methods are viable, but they're not ones that we have to use all the time. It's only here and there, so it's not like you're going to hit this with a drill and then wear out those screw areas. You're not, because it's only when you need weight really early that it even matters. Alright, so we're just going to keep going. And this is running well enough. Oh, I am curious. I can't help it. I'm always curious whether this is going to work. So this was a hat that I wanted to get done anyway. Although I don't know how much I don't even know which yarns of mine now will not run anymore, because you add the silicone to it and it actually runs pretty good. Not great on all of them, but better than it did. See, I am seeing, I don't know if you could see this. See, I think I had that on better earlier. They will slip a little apparently, but I didn't want that rubber tubing in there. So that's the reason I specifically got these clips, because they don't have that tubing. I don't think it really hurts that screw piece to be hit, to be honest. I need it to stay in the silicone, because once it hits like 30 rows, they get past the screws, then it won't matter anymore. See? 28 rows, 30 rows. And now all you're going to do is you're going to take it down to where it's hitting the table. But you can drill on that. Wow, I wouldn't have done that before. I would not have put a drill to this yarn. But it's a good way. These methods do work. When you're seeing how it's working. I think I like my other clips better. Either way, if you have an independent thing. So here's the thing. Let's talk about this for just a second. Just a moment. So remember how we had these, right? We had these. Now, if you were to, even with yarn, it doesn't really matter what your material is. If you was to put something through there to where it's pulled to the center, and then just kind of use a one of those slip down clasps. I wish I had one here to show you. Maybe I'll find a picture of one. And then bunch that together. They're no longer going to hit the screws. So this still is what I would consider a more reliable method. And I think that would be how I'm going to follow through. And my husband just came in and asked me where I got the weights. He says, well, if you don't use them, he'll take them. So apparently, anyway. But having this kind of a weight isn't a bad thing. It's 1 ounce plus the weight of the plus the weight of the clip. So anyway, here in a future video probably I'll show you how to when I pull that to center. But what we know now is this: these work, and so do these. All they're doing is adding weight. Use the silicone ear plugs on the front of your machine. I'll show that picture again right here. And then, honestly, that alone should get you through any yarn that's viably mechanical in other words, it's not too big. It's not, there's a couple of like the ones that have a strand that makes it have a zigzag kind of thing. I'll see if I can figure a picture of that too. Anyway, and those aren't going to run. They just aren't. So, but the weights work. So what I'd love for you guys to do is to have better luck with your yarns that you want to run, that have a nice finish to them. That's the goal, right? At least that's my goal for sharing with you. Anyway, I've got hats to finish. Did I show you I finished this one? It's the beautiful purple wool with the cozy lining on it. Yeah. I'm probably going to put a purple pom-pom on it. Who knows? Anyway, so the silicone earplugs, the weights, whatever you decide to configure that as. I'm just giving you some possibilities that work. And there you go. So don't let something that's going to fight with you too much be an excuse not to try it. Okay? So do yourself a favor. And anybody that you could be giving these to. Go create something. Have a great one, okay? Oh, real quick, I wanted to tell you. So some friends of mine have talked me into trying to do some YouTube Live. I believe we are scheduled for, goodness, I probably need to look that up. The end of the month, the end of this month, this is January 2026. I want to say the 26th or 28th. Anyway, you'll see a post on it. So at 7 p.m. And I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing for the live yet. Most likely talking about getting creative, because that's what this is all about. Maybe I'll see you there, okay? We'll catch you guys later, and take care, all right? Bye.